Welcome to the Impact Maker's Journey from Passion to Profits, the podcast showcasing heart-centered coaches, experts, and energy healers who are on a mission to change lives and create meaningful success doing what they love. I'm your host, Wendy Vaughn, business success coach and founder of Impact Maker Coaching. And I've got to be honest, the path from passion to profits is rarely easy, but it's always filled with growth, clarity, and surprising rewards. Now, each week I sit down with inspiring impact makers who have turned their knowledge and wisdom into thriving businesses that are making a meaningful difference for others. And we'll explore their personal and professional journeys, how they found their calling, and how they continue to stay aligned with their passion along the way. So if you're here to expand your vision about what's possible for yourself, you're in the right place. So join me as we discover the positive ripple effects created by today's guest. All right. Hi there. I have as my guest today, Jill Lublin. Now, Jill is a media magnate, an international speaker, and a master publicity strategist. Now, she works with authors, coaches, speakers, entrepreneurs, and small business owners who want to become known within their industry. So I'm super excited to introduce to you Jill Lublin. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you, Wendy. It's a delight to be here with you.
Yeah, and I am really looking forward to just, discovering more about not only the work that you do, but also your journey as an entrepreneur, because, everybody's journey is a bit unique. Everybody has a different kind of inciting incident, right, that prompted them to start on this scary path or crazy path, or however you want to call it. And, typically the journey includes, lots of opportunities, as I call it, for personal growth. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Call it crazy, call it fabulous, call it inspired. It's all of those things.
It's all of those things. It's kind of a Disneyland ride. So yeah, and let me ask you, do you feel like you're the same person now as you were when you started out as a master publicity strategist?
No, of course, like publicity, I say that publicity is an evolutionary process. So is the entrepreneurial journey, right? It
Yes.
grows as you grow. It grows, for me, it's grown as I've grown. Each book is a different publicity and growth process. Each program I launch, same thing. So my answer is it's always new.
It's always new, always evolving. And, that's what keeps it exciting, right? And business development, personal development, they pretty much go hand in hand. But the journey from passion to profits is not necessarily an easy one. But the thing that's the same for all of us is really that vision and that desire of making that meaningful difference for others. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey. So curiously, how long have you been a master publicity strategist, or, which came first, being an author or a publicity strategist? So just tell us a little bit about how you began this journey.
Sure. Well, I began probably like many people. I fell into it a bit by accident and discovered that truly publicity and promotion is one of my best talents. But I was actually headed to law school and thought I was going to be an attorney, and
Oh my
that was
gosh.
good. And yeah, exactly. Until I got to law school, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't take this. For me, I'm a very creative person, and law school doesn't quite match my personality. Although, of course, like everything, you make it your own. But
Right.
I discovered, however, in law school, my true purpose and passion, which was publicity and promotion, because I ended up working in the music business, partly
Oh,
to get myself through law school and through the what I considered really boring academia to something that was much more interesting. And that actually started and launched my whole publicity career, where now throughout my career I've had a PR agency, and I served all kinds of people, mostly entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and others. And then wrote my first book, Guerrilla Publicity, and that really launched the part of my career that was about speaking and training and running media mastery intensives and all kinds of other wonderful programs.
interesting. Wow, that's That is amazing, those serendipities, right? You think you're on this path that's going to be, you see your whole future kind of before you, and then get this side job, and it turns out, wow, I like this a lot better. And it's something I'm naturally good at, following that natural ability and passion is always the easier path. So yeah, I love that. So then that's how you launched. Now tell us a little bit about building your business. Did you have a clear strategy to build your business? Because pursuing being an attorney doesn't sound like there's a lot of business skills baked into that, but just tell us a little bit about the initial startup phase.
Well, I wish I could tell you that yes, I had a business plan and yes, I had all of that. No, I had nothing. I as they say, hooked up my shingle and said I'm a publicity consultant, and away I went. And it seems to have worked, And along the journey, I have obviously refined and recreated and certainly expanded. Certainly have taken my own trainings and set myself up in business much more properly. But let me
Mhm.
just tell you, I took a path unintended and didn't exactly know what I was doing. But hey, I've learned along the way, just like every good entrepreneur does.
You have to have that resilience and determination. If you were to do it all over again, though, now knowing what steps to take, you could travel that path a lot quicker, no doubt.
Yes,
Yeah,
I could.
'cause
And
there's
frankly,
the
do it the right way.
yeah,
But that's
exactly.
okay.
Exactly. Now, I know that your specialty is working with those, it sounds like those individuals, right? The authors, the coaches, the speakers, um, as well
Consultant.
as the entrepreneurs and small business owners. So tell us a little bit more about, because publicity is one of those things that when you know the benefit of it, then it's like, well, of course. But a lot of people don't quite know the benefit. So, what are some common misbeliefs or misunderstandings about publicity or just not knowing, right? That ends up resulting in more struggle for these people than they need to be facing. Can you just tell us a little bit about like some myths or misbeliefs that people have about publicity?
Yes, happy to do that. So, one is, how about I'm not ready for it? I mean, listen, if you're in business, you are ready for it, no matter what level of business you're at. And I've worked with beginners as well as people celebrating 25 years in business and more, by the way. But the truth is, wherever you are is perfect because publicity is an evolutionary process. It's a gardening process. So you do have to keep planting seeds and grow your publicity garden. That's actually really important. So that's something the I'm not ready for it. Yes, you are. If you're in business, you're ready for it. The other thing is people sometimes don't understand the systems. Publicity in my world has systems and processes. And so I've created a 30, 60, and 90-day system for publicity success. I want people to know this, know what to do in the right order. And
Mhm.
sometimes people don't quite know the right order, or they're making calls to the media in not a proper way, or a properly scripted way, meaning knowing what to say and how to say it and how to pitch. That's important. And then, frankly, not understanding your message. Because a lot of times, Wendy, people say, oh, here's what I do. But from a publicity perspective, that's not going to get you publicity.
Mhm.
So, talking media talk is actually important. Understanding what they want is actually important. And I think that those are all ways that will help people be successful.
Right. And in my mind, it's also, oh, I don't need publicity because I'm doing marketing. To me,
Guess
that's
what?
a misbelief. That's a myth, right?
Perfect.
That's
Well,
that's like I think the main thing is that people think marketing is good enough or enough. It's, well, I'm posting on social media. Isn't that good enough?
so
You know.
No, no, social media is a one-hit wonder. I mean,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
misbelief. That's a misunderstanding that marketing is, checking the box of publicity. They're two different things, right?
well, publicity is marketing. Think of like a tree.
Own it.
There's
Hmm.
marketing. And then there's publicity, which is an important branch of a marketing tree.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, if you're thinking your social media is going to be your publicity, good luck with that. The truth is, some people will see some things and some people won't. Publicity is a wonderful gift that keeps on giving. It's a strategy that helps you be seen, be heard, and get paid, and brings people to you. It's an attraction strategy that's a one to many versus many of the other strategies that you kind of hope and pray they'll actually see your posts, as an
Yeah.
example.
Right, right, absolutely. So what's going on for these authors and entrepreneurs that has them finally realize, you know what? Things just aren't coming together as fast as I want. This is all too elusive. I need to talk to Jill. We need to team up with Jill. So what's going on for them in their, in their efforts that makes them wake up and realize, you know what, something's got to change.
Yeah, well, part of that is having a flow of prospects and leads. Publicity provides that. Listen, one of my clients following a specific tactic, honestly, this was super amazing. She did one podcast and booked $20,000 worth of business. I
Mm,
mean, how profound is that, right?
yeah,
Or
20,000. That's incredible.
one woman who did a 15-minute podcast and sold 45 books. I mean, that's the kind of one to many
Right.
that is powerful and profound and provides that kind of inflow of prospects and clients, which publicity absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it's the whole thing. If nobody sees you, how can you create any business? You have to
Yeah.
be seen.
So giving them that visibility in a way that is effective,
Yes.
versus just the activity of, random marketing strategies, a more systematized approach, it sounds like. So, well, it was interesting hearing you talk about some of the returns on investment. So can you tell us a little bit more about the ROI of publicity?
Yes, and in our world, meaning in the publicity world, you measure ROI based on if you had paid for this in advertising, which is, I promise you, very costly, and most of you probably couldn't afford to buy that kind of
Buy an
advertising.
ad.
So,
Right. Yeah. A
yeah,
half page spread or something like that. Right. Right.
when you are written about, when you are seen and heard on a podcast or any kind of network or television or radio or whatever, right? Or in a magazine or newspaper, it has value. And for instance, you measure if I had bought that advertising, how much would it have cost? So here's a great example. I have a woman who is a speaker and she trains in the area of food and corporations for team building. Okay. Through following my system, she actually got in NBC Nightly News. Like, wow, right? She got a
Wow.
four, yeah, wow is right. Now, that is wonderful. She got a 4.5 minute segment. So we actually looked. Had she bought an advertisement on NBC Nightly News for 4.5 minutes, she would have paid, get this, $720,000.
Wow. Wow.
That's what she would have paid. Guess
Well,
what? It
and
was
and the other thing is the advertising, like a commercial, like you just mentioned, people check out, and that's when they go and grab their, a bag of Doritos or something, Whereas what you're talking about is an interview, something where the host is highlighting the expertise, and that's a completely different type of identification, and
you're
and
repeat
establishes that authority.
big time, big time. Absolutely. You're elevated. Your status is elevated. People look to you as the expert. You are seen in a way that it's earned media, meaning it's
Mhm.
respectful and they're talking about you and particularly drives you up the elevator
Yeah.
to the to the
That makes
top.
a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So what different types of publicity platforms are there? There's, I'm guessing TV, radio, print, those still the main areas.
Traditional media, TV, radio, print, magazines, newspapers. And by the way, yes, it all still absolutely exists and very powerfully. You go to any hotel in the United States, you're going to get a USA Today delivered to your door, Wall Street Journal delivered to your door.
Mm.
So everything still exists. Here's the good news. The power of media has actually changed and even uplifted. Why? Because not only do you have, let's call it the printed version, you have everything on the internet, right? And
Mhm.
so I think it's like a great 1-2 punch. So
Mhm.
on top of that, there's podcasts and blogs. All of that is also media.
Mhm.
And I think it's important. And guess what? You can also now control your media because you can, yes, do LinkedIn Lives, TikToks, Instagram Lives, Facebook Lives, etc. And you're controlling your publicity. I love that.
Mhm.
So I have seen publicity really blossom in my world because I have a much more expanded definition of what publicity is, and it includes all of this. Now we drive it in a way that's messageable, it, perfect for your right audience,
Mhm.
and consistent and persistent with what your goals are.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, people struggle so much with all the, I'm not gonna say traditional, but some of the standard marketing tactics and strategies, and it tends to, um I don't know, the impact of landing in an inbox, or I know those kinds of things seem to be, it's such a cluttered area, right? And to be able to rise above and be heard and become known through some of the traditional marketing strategies versus publicity, I can really see how it is, like you explained, a very integral part of the overall, you know, marketing and becoming visible, becoming known. So
Yes, exactly.
after working with you, then it sounds like there is just a lot more recognition within the market based on, their expertise, right? And I would imagine, like for authors, this is important for a book launch, right?
Absolutely. Oh gosh. And to start it in advance. I mean, just a great example with The Prophet of Kindness. That's my fourth book. You learn a few things along the way, including me, a publicity expert. And one of the things I learned was start early, So we had a public relations campaign, for 9 months, for 6 months, for 3 months, for 3 weeks, for 48 hours, for the day of, like that, and just planned it out. But the reason that I was featured twice in Inc. magazine and twice in Forbes magazine and had 7 Fox News interviews in the first 30 days of the Prophet of Kindness launch, plus CBS Morning News and many, many, many more, is
Wow.
because we planned and focused on not just, ooh, Jill's got a new book out, but what I call push the right button. And push the right button is not, honestly, Jill's got a new book out, because as much as I'm excited and my mama's excited, it's not the story. It's not the
Right.
story. What the story is was something new that we posted and put out there and put in the press releases and pitched, which was the divided states of America. That's the story that got the interest. And I
Mm.
think when this is so key for everybody to hear, it's not always what you do or what you're promoting, it's the story around it. I've got another one about Ryan if you want to hear it, but it's really the story around it and recreating that story so
Mhm.
that you're getting far more interest.
Mhm. Right. And it does then become, newsworthy, or, relevant to the TV show or whatever, for, for that conversational level versus a book. No, it's the message, it's the story behind, or whatever is involved. So yeah, It makes a lot of sense. It really does. And I think publicity is one of those things that is underutilized. And I love the fact that you have been in this industry for so long. You obviously have your finger on the pulse in terms of
Thank
which areas do move the needle and not
Yeah,
just
and
blindly
adapt.
submitting all this stuff out there and hoping something lands. And you're
Yeah, and
obviously, yeah, go ahead.
thank you. And adapting. I mean, listen, it's new environments, and the great news is, and people go, oh well, newspapers are disappearing. In my world, the media is duplicating. And what I mean by that is, okay, yeah, maybe we've lost a few newspapers in some small markets. But guess what? The opportunity to be seen and heard is easier and better than ever before.
Yeah, because of the online presence that goes along with that. And it's interesting because I always was under the impression, obviously, it's another misbelief, right? In order to have those, oh, Fox News and this, those little insignias that people have on their websites was just, you know, bought.
No, it's not bought. It's earned.
It's
It's
earned.
earned.
Yeah, it's earned. So that's, again, I think a misbelief is that, oh, you can just pay somebody and you can have those insignias. And it really does add that level of expertise or authority when you have
Yes.
those on your website or any of the visibility, not just your website, but that's obviously where people go to check out more information in terms of the work that you do, especially as a coach or, you know, um, any of those thought leader kind of roles. So, and you're obviously very passionate about doing this work. I'd love to hear your secret because after so many years of doing, the same thing, even though it's a system and it works, there is the kind of redundancy. And what I've experienced is, after the 7 some odd years that I've been coaching, professional coaches and healers and whatnot to build their business is that frequently that original passion for doing the work gets kind of diluted, maybe because of the complexities of building a business and being in that ever evolving space where, okay, now I've got to do this kind of thing to build my business. And now I've got to do this kind of thing to build my business. And, it does dampen out that original passion, which of course is why I love being a business coach, is because I, simplify that and take all that away. But I'm curious in terms of, what is it that you do in terms of just maintaining or refueling your passion for serving
Well,
as coaches,
yeah.
authors, speakers?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I surround myself with coaches like you, people who are smart in their world. I don't want to do this journey alone, nor should any of us. So, like, I'm a mentor and coach for others. Guess what? I got my refuels. I got people who refuel me and challenge me, to be
Mm-hmm.
better and do different things and adapt with the marketplace. And so that's something. And then, I take care of myself, self-care. I go out in nature. I hang out with my cats. I, go kayaking. I go wine tasting because I'm in California. But, whatever it is, I do things I enjoy and I keep the joy in my life daily. And
Mm-hmm.
and consistently. And then I have my spiritual practices that also refuel me and ways that I can refill myself so that I can give to others. And I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Self-care. Like, what am I going to do to take care of myself so that I can take care of others?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so wise, because it's as an entrepreneur, I heard somebody say, you have to be a little bit crazy to be an entrepreneur because you just give up a 9 to 5 job that, you have to work 40 hours a week, exchange that for a job where you're working 70 hours a week, for half the pay. And that's not always the case. Obviously, when you have a good publicist that can support you to grow your business faster, but you have to have that element of, no, I need to take care of myself. So I love the fact that you've brought in that as just really an important aspect to be able to keep up that love for the work that you do, and helping people to achieve those new levels of happiness and success within their businesses is, it just really creates a huge ripple effect in my perspective. It's a ripple effect that just goes on and on infinitely, because when you're supporting an author to have their book read, that book is probably inspirational and it might save somebody's life. It might, help somebody with their marriage. It might, who knows, the ripple effects of the work that you do are just absolutely infinite. And one of my mentors early in my career as an entrepreneur was Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author for Chicken Soup for the Soul. Now, he wasn't my personal mentor, but I was in a mastermind with he and Bob Proctor that the two of them created many, many years ago. Obviously, Bob has passed, but it was a 3% club. And oh my goodness, talk about visionaries and people that just put that wind beneath your wings kind of a thing. And one of the things that Mark shared with me, and probably thousands of others, was the importance to always have a big, hairy, audacious goal, something that just, gives you goosebumps to think about, but yet, that you're a part of that picture and making that meaningful difference, something that's bigger than you. Right. In fact, he said, Wendy, you need to just, get your head wrapped around a vision for just a big, audacious goal, something that fuels your passion and helps you to overcome all these little speed bumps. And so ever since then, I've had big, audacious goals. And currently, as a business coach, my big, audacious goal is to raise consciousness within humanity. Beautiful. And the reason that I know, and it fuels me to work with coaches and thought leaders and healers, because they're the ones just like you that are, making those meaningful shifts, helping somebody craft their message, helping them to get the publicity, supporting people to achieve new levels of success. And because, like I said, I firmly believe that all of the ripple effects are truly raising that awareness around consciousness and making the world a better place. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Jill, akin to Mark Victor Hansen's kind of wisdom. Do you have a big, audacious goal or vision for yourself or your business that also fuels your entrepreneurial spirit?
Yes. And before I answer that, can I tell you one fun, wonderful fact?
Yeah, of course.
Mark Victor Hansen actually hired me to vision one of his books, and I sat around the table with him doing specific PR strategy before the book ever came out. And you know what he said to me? He said, Jill, you're around this table because I know how important publicity is, because it actually really elevated Chicken Soup for the Soul and made us famous. So I get the value. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. I love that.
Pleasure and blessing of working with him. So my big, hairy, audacious goal is one of the things I'm doing is our kindness circles. They are part of the Profit of Kindness scene, and we do them monthly, and they're completely free. And what I'd like is to create a $1 million sponsor for the kindness circle so that we can get that farther and wider. I have a big mission on spreading more kindness in this world. We certainly need it. And so I would like that sponsored, and that we can continue to do it for free and have kindness circle people doing it all over the world. Both on Zoom and in person.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Kindness is one of those, it seems so obvious, but people don't practice it enough, and they aren't intentional about leading with that, compassion, kindness. Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. Definitely impacting and will, create that ripple effect. So beautiful. I love that. So Jill, what is the best next step for those coaches, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, business owners who are struggling with becoming known and serving at the level that they know they really are meant to serve at. What's their next step if they're curious about the possibility of working with you?
Well, thank you. Well, I'm going to invite you. Check out, I created a free gift for you. It is a wonderful publicity action guide with even more great ideas for how to get your word out there, plus an interactive live publicity class with me where
Oh,
we're going to go deep and really specifically help you with your publicity. So that's a great
wonderful.
opportunity to take the next step. It's
Fantastic.
jilllublin.com/guide. And I'm
Okay,
sure you'll be.
perfect. So yeah, viewers, just look in the show notes. You'll see the link for that guide. And what a wonderful opportunity. That's fantastic, Jill. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your journey and really expanding our view of what's possible with the right PR strategy. You know, it's not something that is just, yeah, meant for some. It sounds like it's really a very viable elements that can escalate that level of success. So thank you so much for expanding our view and sharing your journey and for the work that you do.
Thank you for having me, Wendy.
All right. Well, the real life transformations facilitated by experts like my guest today are truly priceless. I mean, happiness, joy, peace, love, right? These are all what each of us ultimately strives for in life. But becoming a sought after and well-paid coach or energy healer is often challenging, overwhelming, and frustrating. So if you're a heart-centered coach, expert, or energy healer who's striving for more ease, flow, and abundance, well, I've created a special gift just for you. So check out the show notes. All right. Well, this is Wendy Vaughn signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join me for my next episode where we'll be inspired by yet another impact maker's journey.